So then I'm going to propose a question to you then. Guys, we're not going to go over every single player. We're going to go over key impactful players that are going to make a difference in the rest of this series if it does, in fact, go to seven. Obviously, Devin is the most important person for Phoenix. I'm actually going to go to a different spectrum, and I'm not going to pick Giannis or Chris Middleton. I'm going to ask you, can Jrue Holiday continue this incredible performance from game five? Because Milwaukee's energy was on another level with the fact that they're $40 million a year man was able to finally get it going in game five.
I'll say this. I expect Jrue to play fine defensively. He's proven that throughout the entirety of the series. It's whether or not that he could score. And in game five, he was phenomenal. 12 of 20 from the field. He was 50% behind the 3-point line. He knocked down 3 out of his 6 threes and scored 27 points and had the game-winning turnover that essentially iced it for Milwaukee. But that was the first game throughout the entire series where he finally showed up offensively. In game 4, he was 4 of 20, and he was abysmal on the offensive side of the ball for Milwaukee. So when I look throughout the entirety of the series so far, I can't rely on Jrue Holiday to give me the 27 points that he dropped in game 5. I can maybe expect maybe 10 to 15 points, maybe 20 at the most on a consistent basis, but 27, it might be an anomaly from him. But if he continues the success that he had in game 5 going into game 6, could he drop 25 maybe? Yeah, I'm not going to rule it out. It's just I can't bank on it. But on the defensive side of the court, oh, he's going to be fine. Whether he's guarding Devin Booker or Chris Paul or whatever matchup he has, he's going to give that person everything that he's got or everything that they've got. So it's kind of weird. I'm making a distinction between the offensive part of Jrue's game and the defensive part of Jrue's game. I think defensively, he's going to be stout. Offensively, it's a question mark for me. So to answer your question, I can't rely on him to do what he did in game 5 going into game 6. That's just my personal take on it.
Well, then I'm just going to kind of take maybe a different spin. It's like everybody says in the sport of basketball, you just got to see the ball go in, right? You have to see it go into the cylinder, and it's got to be able to, you got to see it you have to see it through as a consistent basis, on a consistent basis, whether that's free throws, whether that's layups, wide open mid-range jump shots. Jrue got it going good enough in this game that I think with the supporting home crowd, I think that he's going to be a big factor come game 6 because we already know what we're going to get from him on the defensive end. Just like what we said with Devin, we know offensively he's going to get his numbers. We already know what Jrue Holiday, the defender, brings to the Milwaukee Bucks. Jrue Holiday as an offensive player has always been average, you know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit above average. There are flashes where he can score 20 plus and, get you double doubles. But in this instance, obviously being aggressive on both fronts of the basketball or both sides of the basketball, I think that this game is going to give him that confidence and that motivation to go out there and play a big game 6 because we already know that Chris Middleton and Giannis are the two Batman and Robin, the two best players offensively on this team. We know that Chris Middleton can be very inconsistent at times as well. But in the last 2 to 3 games, Chris has actually gone out there and did what he was supposed to do. And they were kind of just waiting for that third person. They were kind of just like, all right, like, is Jrue going to step up? Like, can Jrue help us right now? Like, Cottington's always been great, but he's always been a bench player, and he plays his role very effectively. But we need Jrue Holiday, the guy that we traded all these assets for, the guy that we just signed to a major deal to play up to par. And Jrue Holiday did that last night. And I think that this going forward, if he can mimic some form of this success, maybe not 27 and 13, but if you can give me 20 and 10, 20 and 8 with those 3 steals and bring that same intensity on the offensive end, because you saw after he hit a 3, and I think Phoenix called timeout, I forget what quarter it was, he was going nuts. He was hyped up, and you can tell he was a totally different player when he was checked into this game at the level that he was. So the reason I only brought up Jrue Holiday was because I think that if he plays good, I think this game isn't even close. Giannis is going to get his buckets. Middleton is going to get his looks. It's a matter if he's going to hit them or not. But if all 3 of these players play at the pace that they did this last game, Devin could go for 50. It ain't going to make a difference.